The sun hung low over the Texas horizon, painting the sky in shades of amber and gold. Beside the dusty county road, an old red pickup truck sat with its hood propped open, steam rising from the engine like a tired sigh. Jessica Morgan wiped her brow with the back of her hand. Her red plaid shirt knotted at her waist. At 29, she'd learned to handle most things herself, fixing fences, mending equipment, keeping her small ranch running since her father passed. But this truck, stubborn as it was, had finally defeated her. She held a wrench in her hand, staring at the engine like it might surrender if she looked hard enough. The nearest town was 15 miles back. Her cell phone had no signal out here in the open country. The sound of hoofbeats made her turn. A man rode toward her on a paint horse, silhouetted against the setting sun. As he drew closer, Jessica could make out details. A gray cowboy hat worn with time, a blue denim shirt faded from work and weather, worn jeans, and boots that had seen plenty of miles. He had dark hair that touched his collar, and a face weathered by sun and wind. Perhaps in his late 30s. He looked like a drifter, the kind of cowboy who moved from ranch to ranch, picking up work where he could find it. "Looks like you could use a hand," he called out, his voice carrying the slow, easy cadence of someone who'd spent his life under open skies. Jessica felt a reflexive wariness. Out here, alone, she'd learned to be careful, but something in his manner seemed genuine, respectful. "Truck overheated," she said, keeping her tone neutral. "I've got water, but she won't turn over." The man dismounted with the easy grace of someone born to the saddle. He tied his horse to a nearby fence post and approached, keeping a polite distance. "Name's Cole," he said, touching the brim of his hat. "Cole Barrett. Mind if I take a look?" "Jessica Morgan. And I'd appreciate it." Cole studied the engine with the quiet focus of someone who understood machines. His hands were work-worn but moved with surprising gentleness as he checked hoses and connections. "Your radiator hose has a split," he said after a moment. "The engine's too hot to run safely. You'll need a replacement before you can drive her home." Jessica sighed. Of course it was something she couldn't fix on the roadside. "Nearest auto parts store is back in Dustin and they'll be closed by now," she said, more to herself than to him. Cole was quiet for a moment, thinking, "My place isn't far from here. I've got parts, tools, could probably find something to get you running again. I can ride ahead, bring my truck back, and tow yours. Or you're welcome to ride with me to get what you need." Jessica hesitated. She didn't know this man. But the sun was setting fast, and the temperature would drop quickly once night fell. Out here, pride could be dangerous. "That's kind of you," she said carefully, "if you don't mind the trouble." "No trouble at all." Cole helped her secure her truck, then offered his hand to help her mount behind him on his horse. They rode in comfortable silence, the evening air cooling around them. Jessica noticed how he sat in the saddle, not showing off, just natural, like the horse was an extension of himself. "You work around here?" she asked, making conversation. "I've got some land nearby," Cole said simply. "Run cattle, horses. Nothing fancy." They rode for about 20 minutes before cresting a hill. Below them spread a valley, and Jessica's breath caught. It wasn't a small ranch. It was an empire. Thousands of acres of prime grazing land, modern barns that gleamed in the fading light, cattle as far as she could see. In the distance stood a house, not a mansion, but substantial, built of stone and timber in the old style. "This is your place?" Jessica asked, unable to hide her surprise. Cole nodded, a slight smile playing at his lips. "Like I said, I've got some land." Jessica felt her cheeks warm. Some land. This was easily one of the largest operations in 3 counties. They rode to the main barn where Cole's truck, a new top-of-the-line model, was parked. He loaded tools and parts, then drove Jessica back to her broken-down pickup. As he worked to replace her radiator hose, Jessica watched him, reevaluating everything. This man, who owned half the county by the look of it, was lying on his back under her old truck, fixing her problems like it was the most natural thing in the world. Why didn't you tell me? She asked quietly. Cole glanced at her from under the truck. Tell you what? That you're Cole Barrett. The Barrett Ranch, everyone in 3 counties knows that name. He returned his attention to the hose. Would it have mattered? Jessica thought about it. I guess I would have been more careful, more formal maybe. Exactly, Cole said. I get enough of that. Sometimes it's nice when someone just sees a man who can help, not a name or a bank account. He finished the repair, tested the engine, and nodded with satisfaction. She'll get you home. But that hose is temporary. Get it properly replaced soon. I will. Thank you. Jessica paused. What do I owe you? Cole wiped his hands on a rag. How about dinner? Jessica blinked. What? I'm asking if you'd have dinner with me. Not as payment, just because I'd like to know more about the woman who handles a wrench like she was born with one. Jessica found herself smiling. Most men around here don't appreciate a woman who can fix things herself. Then most men around here are fools, Cole said simply. Over dinner at a small cafe in town 3 nights later, Jessica learned Cole's story. He'd inherited the ranch at 25 when his parents died in an accident. He'd loved once, a woman who wanted the lifestyle his wealth could provide, but not the work that came with it. She'd left him for a city businessman, breaking something inside Cole that hadn't healed. For 13 years, he'd poured himself into the ranch, becoming successful and wealthy, but increasingly isolated. He trusted few people, dated rarely, and had almost forgotten what it felt like to connect with someone real. Why tell me all this? Jessica asked softly. Cole looked at her with those honest eyes. Because when you didn't know who I was, you looked at me like I was just a man. No calculations, no angles, just acceptance. I haven't felt that in years. Over the following months, Jessica and Cole grew close. He helped her improve her small ranch, not with money but with knowledge, teaching her techniques his family had perfected over generations. She showed him that there was still goodness in the world, people who valued character over wealth. One evening, as they sat on her porch watching the sunset, Cole said, I was wrong, you know. About what? I thought I hadn't loved in years, but I was just waiting for someone worth opening my heart to again. Jessica took his hand. I thought you were a drifter cowboy that first day. Turns out you're a man who's been drifting in a different way. Lost maybe, but looking for something real. Cole smiled. Did I find it? I think we both did. They married the following spring in a simple ceremony at the old church in town. Jessica kept her small ranch, running it alongside Cole's larger operation. They proved that partnership isn't about one person being bigger or wealthier. It's about 2 people seeing each other clearly and choosing to walk side by side. Years later, their children would ask how they met. Jessica would smile and tell them about a broken-down truck, a cowboy on a horse, and how sometimes the most valuable things come from the most unexpected places. Not wealth. Not status. Just one human being seeing another, without pretense or calculation, and recognizing something worth holding on to. In a world that often measures worth by what we own, they'd found something priceless, a love built on truth, respect, and the simple courage to be real with each other. Sometimes the richest people are the ones who remember what actually matters.